Friday,
Hey,
girl. How are you
yes, it's
doing
Friday.
today?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm way better than I was on Wednesday. I'm way better than I was yesterday. I'm good. I'm doing better today. So
Good, good, good.
tell me about yourself, Hunter.
I'm a little stuffy, but I'm making it. I'm making it.
Yes, allergies, girl. Everybody, it is Fabulous Friday. We are here today. We're going to talk about how you guys can win your offers in this crazy market. I think we've had this conversation before, but now we're going to introduce some creative ways, some things we've seen people use to win in this market. But for starters, let me introduce myself. My name is Jessie Lynn. I'm a triangle realtor. I'm with A to Z Realty. Nicole, go on and introduce yourself, ma'am.
I am Nicole Crawford with Keller Williams Realty out of Curtisville, but I cover the Triad area because I live in Greensboro.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, you poor thing. You sound stuff. You
I
poor,
know, right? You can hear it.
poor tick tick. Everybody in the audience, send Nicole some love, y'all. Send her some love. Drop her some hearts. Help her feel better. Drop her some comments in the bottom. All right, Nicole. Good news about this market. It's really crazy right now. We all know a lot of our buyers, they're losing offer after offer after offer. It's not just us. We see it in all the real estate groups that we go in. Somebody gave you a heart. Thank you for the heart, y'all. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
heart. That's Nikki. Hey, Nikki. So, yeah, we've seen it. I've seen an offer get rejected from $20,000 to $30,000 over asking with $10,000 in earnest money and due diligence. What are some things you're seeing in your market?
You name it. You name it. We went 25,000 over. We've given up $10,000, $15,000 in due diligence and still not gotten it. And it's the craziest thing because sometimes it's not any rhyme or reason to why we're losing.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, the good news is I have seen, well, we all know lumber prices, they're dropping. So
Yes.
that's good. So new
Yes.
construction homes, you guys, if you're thinking about doing new construction, you may not have to pay these crazy prices and your home just might appraise. Another thing is, I saw with Redfin, they said that the market, what it says, Redfin home buyers demand index was down 14% from its peak 9 weeks ago. And they also said that the pending sales have reduced 10% compared to the month of May. So that's a plus right there.
And we're starting to see it. I'm starting to see more properties sit on the market more than a day.
Mhm.
So, in this market, if it's sitting 4 days, then then we're looking to like what's wrong with it. But we are starting to see things soften a little bit. And I think a lot of it is price point driven. So
Yeah.
there's still a lot of buyers out there in that under 200,000, which
Mhm.
creates that supply and demand thing. But I am starting to see buyers taking heed to, hey, we're just not going to do it. We're just not going
Exactly.
to do it.
They're putting their foot down because
That's
it's a
right.
seller's market and sellers, they're kind of getting away from everything. I know I had my buyer, there was like, look, we ain't doing it, so yeah, that's how it is. So it's your market. You can make that call. Don't sell your soul to the devil, y'all. Don't sell your soul to the devil, but we're seeing that a lot. That's what a lot of people have been doing. And a lot of these things that I'm going to mention today, a lot of them, I tell my buyers, I really don't recommend it because it's risky. But if you want to do it, you can do it. So
Absolutely.
this is what we're seeing. This is what I've seen. A strong due diligence. We
Absolutely.
usually say here in the clubhouse, we always say 1% earnest money, 1% due diligence money. But in this market, what we've been seeing is like 5 to 10%. Yes, 5 to 10% of the asking price. That's what's winning right now. And
Yep.
that's why in here in the clubhouse, we always say save, but tell them the risk of doing 5 to 10%.
The risk is if you decide tomorrow you don't like that house, or we go in and we do repairs and you don't like what you see, and the seller says, I'm absolutely not doing one thing. And you
Mhm.
say, okay, well, I'm going to walk. When you decide you want to walk away, you just lost that 10% of whatever you just put down, whatever kind of money you put down. And it's hard to come back from $10,000 that you
Yes.
just handed somebody to say thank you.
Yes, last week or whenever we did that inspection, the inspector said the buyer lost about to lose $10,000
Yeah.
twice in due diligence money. So you guys, If you want to win, that's how you can win. But again, that's, it's risky. It's very,
It's
very
absolutely
risky.
very risky.
So that's one thing. So 5 to 10% in due diligence money of your asking price. And again, a lot of people don't have that money. The next thing I've been seeing is a lot of people waiving the appraisals. So what does that mean? You want to tell them what it means when you waive the appraisal?
So this is one of those things that I tell my clients, hey, this is what's trending. Do I recommend it? I really don't recommend it. Basically, when you're waiving the appraisal means that when the appraiser comes back and says, hey, this house is only worth 225, but your offer was 250, then that means that you just said that you're going to cover the difference.
Yes. So again,
out of your pocket.
Out of your pocket. The lender is not going to give you that money. Exactly. Right. Very risky. And then guess what? What if the market drops tomorrow? Because we don't know. The appraisers don't know. The value of your home is for today, not for tomorrow. It's risky, you guys. I know a lot of the times, even as a listing agent, I've seen people do sight unseen. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they're kind of winning that. But it's risky. You're going to go in that house. You can't smell that house through the lens. You can't see those closets through the lens. You can't see those leaks in the ceiling through the lens of the camera. Stop doing that, y'all. That's not even one of the ones that I was going to mention. But sight unseen is another thing. And I tell everybody, look, you can do it, but I don't recommend it.
Absolutely. We need more than 10 pictures. I mean, we got the roll with at least 40, but I mean, people are doing it every day. I have a listing that went live and we got probably about 6 or 7 offers sight unseen. So people are really trying to get their foot in the door in order to do that. Now, I know in our area, we do have some addendums that help try to protect the buyer a little bit with the sight unseen, but hey, it's still a risk.
Scary. I wouldn't do it. So another thing that we've been seeing is waiving the repairs. So you're basically, we all know, everybody say, I want to get the house. The house is as is. I mean, it's already as is anyway. I mean, pretty much when you put in an offer, it's as is. But the issue is you do these inspections and then you say, hey, look, Mr. Seller, I need you to fix this. And the sellers, they don't want to deal with that, those negotiations a lot of the times. That's when you find that process getting hectic or whatever. It's like, oh, God, you're going back and forth. You're trying to get these repairs done. So what a lot of people are doing right now is they are waiving those seller repairs with their contract, with their offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the risks? What are the risks?
You just bought the house as is. I mean, in the state of North Carolina, it's being sold as is, but what you're basically saying is I will not ask for anything. You're not saying that you won't do the inspections, but you're just saying that, hey, no matter what I find, I'm going to purchase this house just like it is.
I'm not going to be a pest.
I'm not going to ask you.
This house have termites. When they get that inspection,
I'll fix it.
The floor is about to fall through. You know what, Mr. Seller?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I just do my due diligence. Yeah. Because I'm about to back out. I might just keep the house like that with no floors. I don't need the floors in the house.
When you put down $20,000, you're going to use that $20,000 to fix those repairs, okay? We buy that house.
I tell my sellers that they're not going to reach that $15,000 they just put down.
We buy that house.
All right. So this is another one, and I think it's really nice because I have seen some sweet things like this. They are love letters.
Yes.
They are love letters. You are telling the seller, Mr. Seller, I want your house. I love your house. I want your house because I have a family. I have 3 dogs, and I want your house because of this. Your house is beautiful. Are there any risks with that?
You know what? As much as we love the love letters, and when I started hearing all the stories, I said, but we need to be able to tell people who we are and why we want it. Yeah. But that's the risk. You're telling people who you are.
Yes.
And today's world, sometimes people knowing what color you are, what gender you are, what your familiar status is not a good thing on either side. For a buyer, you're telling people exactly who you are, which means that they can make the decision based off of that. Are they supposed to? No. But we never know why a seller decided to choose another offer.
Yeah. And as a buyer agent, I usually tell well, as a listing agent, I say, look, don't take them. Because it's a risk for you on your part, because you can choose this buyer for this reason, you know. But as a buyer agent, I always say, don't put your photo there because of fair housing reasons. As a seller agent, I wouldn't take it with the photo. So what I do a lot of the times, if they put a photo up there, I just kind of block it out or whatever for fair housing reasons because it's risky on both sides. It really is.
But I've seen some love letters that people are getting creative with. I've seen one on one of the websites that the buyer wrote the letter from their cat because they noticed that the sellers loved cats. And guess what? They accepted the offer based off the love letter from the cat.
That's smart. That's really smart. I had someone try that with my seller, and I'm not sure how true it was because my seller was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." Their kid had the same name as their kid, and then I said, "Hold on now, let's think about this seller. Do you have your child's name on the wall?" As a matter of fact, I do have the child's name on the wall. So you don't know what's true and what's not true. That person may hate cats. The buyer may hate the cat. So sellers, So again, but you as a buyer agent, let's go there. Get creative.
You have to get creative.
You may not like the Packers, but that seller liked the Green Bay Packers. So we are going to talk about the Packers in that letter.
Packer fan today. You got that right.
Say that again.
I said you got that right. We're gonna be a Packers fan today.
Yes, we are. It's all about negotiations. So I'm talking to you from a buyer agent and a seller agent. Seller, don't fall for it. As a buyer agent, it's all about negotiations. How are we going to win this house? We are a Packers fan, y'all. Let's talk about it. And that's why we tell the sellers, take down your stuff. Take it down. All right. The last one, y'all, I just don't recommend it, but this is one thing that can get you your home. You say, hey, Mr. Seller, I am willing to do a seller rent back because in this market, what's the issue in this market? The sellers don't want to sell their house because they're having a hard time finding a house just like you are, Mr. Buyer. So you are doing a seller rent back. You can rent it back to them for a fee, or you can do a seller rent back at no cost to them at all. All right. What are the risks? Oh, I read a story about this risk. But Nicole, what are the risks? What are the
risk is you just inquire a tenant. Mm-hmm. That seller becomes your tenant. Mm-hmm. Now, if they decide they don't want to move, guess what you have to do? You have to go through the court system to get them to move out your house. So if you're not looking to become a landlord, then the rent back situation, because I'm here to have this conversation with my client now, on a beautiful house that she really, really wants, and the seller wants us to do a 30-day rent back. Yeah. If you're not in the market to be a landlord, then this might not be the house for you if that seller wants to do a rent back.
Exactly. Read a story in California. They have different laws than we do here in North Carolina. And, with the pandemic, they had the restrictions, not California, but, throughout North Carolina as well, the restrictions about evicting your tenants. So in California, they have some kind of law, some kind of tenant laws. Basically, anyway, buyers bought the house. The sellers did a rent back. Guess what? It's been a year and the sellers have not moved out of that house. And guess what? The buyer is still paying a mortgage on that house and they are not receiving any rent from the seller. And guess what else? They paid the seller all this money for their house and the seller is living a fabulous life, rent-free with stacks on top of stacks on top of stacks on top of stacks. So be careful in your state, y'all. Be careful whenever you guys decide to do a rent back because they don't have to leave when you say, I'm ready to move in now. Just think
That's
about it. There's a lot of laws out there.
especially with the pandemic. We seen the rent moratorium, and that was one of the things that I pushed a lot from my buyers. Please don't get into that situation, because once you do and say yes and you sign those papers, and that time frame for that seller to move out is over, you're now in that landlord tenant relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're not evicting anybody based off of non-payment of rent at this point, then
Yep.
guess what you just did? You just inherited a house with somebody in it that you're paying the mortgage payment for. So you have to be careful and know what's going on in this climate, that it might not be a good time for a rent back.
Exactly. And for me, I'm the type of person to think, well, who would do that? I wouldn't dare do that to anyone. Believe it or not, y'all, there's some people out there in this world that would do whatever they can to get over. So
Absolutely.
you have to always think business. You have to always think like an investor or whatever you're thinking about doing. You have to always think like that, you guys. So I know you guys, you want the house, you in love with the house, you gotta have that house. But don't sell your soul to the devil. Don't do it, because there are so many risks out there. But you could win it. You can win it.
Oh, absolutely.
You can win it.
Absolutely.
But just think about everything that goes behind it. All right.
Absolutely.
Anything else, girl?
I was gonna say, now I've seen some buyers that are paying sellers closing costs in order to win offers. So that's something to maybe look at, because the seller's closing costs is usually not as much until you add those realtor fees in there.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. So what closing costs are you paying? Are you paying? What are you paying? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, but yes, we're seeing people getting really, really creative out here, and hopefully this market is starting to ease up a little bit so we can get just a little bit of normalcy back.
Yes, I see it. And I've gone to showings, but I don't know if it's because they're not doing they're allowing the overlapping now. But usually we're lined up outside waiting to get into the home. But now I get there and I can go and do my showing and move on about my business. So it's getting better, y'all. There's hope. There's hope. Don't give up right now. Don't give up.
Because when those interest rates start rising, you start to lose a little bit of your buying power. So we want to make sure that even though it's a little tough out here, we take advantage of everything that we can in order to get in that house that we want.
Exactly. All right. You got anything else? Anything else you want to add? All right, y'all. So I hope you guys took your notes. Y'all drop us some hearts before we go. Nicole, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jessie Lynn. I represent the Triangle area, and I'm with A to Z Realty. Nicole.
And I'm Nicole Crawford, representing the Triad area, and I am with Keller Williams Realty.
All right, you guys. And I think I just froze. Y'all can find you can find us at www.thehomebuyersclubhouse.com. You can also find us on Facebook in our private group, The Home Buyers Clubhouse. We'll see you guys soon. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Bye.